Hey, the one, hey, the run. Yeah, I'll rate you guys. It was horrible. It went very badly. My operation didn't work. I'm the one out of 1,000 that it didn't work. And the surgeon couldn't care less. Right, so let's just go through. Now let's just focus on GTII, which we can't make any money on. Let's focus on MMTLP, which we can't make any money on, and then let's look at some stocks which have been run down and they're having tiny bounce backs. Let's get focused on those, and we'll ignore stocks that give us a chance at making money. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but I know that's the way the call will go. Well, maybe this stayed logged in. I don't know. Maybe it did. The battery went out. I mean, the power went out completely, but maybe it's still logged in. Guess not. I guess not. That was too much to hope for. All right, so I'll go over here. Now I'll come over here and I'll just start again. Yeah. When it takes too long to update, it's a pretty good sign that it's not logged in. Okay. Rail is down. Rail is down 2 cents at 35. I think it's a great price. That Roger Rabbit with 3 first names, he's doing a rights offering. Everyone wants to focus on that because, hey, he's doing something after he raped everybody. He's going to put that money into Bitcoin. Yeah, my suggestion is if you want to own Bitcoin, just buy it yourself. Don't go through Roger Rabbit. ZJYL's down 11. That stock actually was showing some signs of strength on the chart. GDC's up 7 cents. Nixie's up 31 cents. That stock could go, I think, anything can happen at any time. But that stock looked like to me that it still could go a little bit lower. So if you're adding to positions, DJT up 130 at 40.65. Tesla up $31. I guess it pays to have an office in the White House. And let's see, Finger is up 4 cents at 116 to 117. And I'm going to stand by it. I think the 2 things you should be looking to buy right now are RLAIF and silver. I think Nixie's going to have an excellent chance at a run, maybe NTRP. as well. And, don't forget about ZJYL and GDC. Yeah, I know, Lion. It wasn't your stock that you gave as an idea 2 years ago, but I'm not gonna pick on you because all stocks, not all of them work. It was my surgery was a disaster, and I think my eyesight is. I don't think I can find another surgeon. It was a disaster. I can't see out of my eye. I mean, the cataract's gone. He put a lens in, but I can't see out of it. He didn't give me a reason. I mean, it's like a assembly line. He probably does 30 or 40 of those, 2,500 a pop. That's his payday every Wednesday. He didn't give a reason, but he said, I don't know what he said. I have to see him tomorrow. And he said, well, there's always risk. I said, yeah, but you didn't tell me about this. I didn't give you permission to put this lens in. I just left. I was so angry. I didn't want to lose my temper. Yeah, good. Go watch GTII's video later. Please, let's talk about it. Why don't we talk about GTII? GTII went from 9 cents to $9. All of us participated at different points in that. The squeeze never materialized. It looks like Reichman took money out, and now we're relying on lawyers to go get our money back. Good luck. Good luck. Hey, Eddie Eagle. I'm pissed off. Really? Let me look. Yep, you're right. It's the expert market. So say goodbye to that stock. Although he's a fighter. He didn't want to listen to me. He wanted to keep his buddies. He thought that Aubrey advised. Let's show Frankie. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it. Oh, oh, I see. I'm using the wrong keyboard. Okay, so let's go to their website. All right, so let me go to .com. All right, let's take the stock out of it and do that. All right, here's collective audience. All right, so let me see if you're seeing it. Yeah, you are seeing it. All right, let's come back to it. Now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right. So he does a great job with all this. we have brought together, and I think he's done a good job. Brands, agencies, it's great. Next generation. It's all good. It's all very good stuff. But let's find out the about page. About us. Okay? About us. Our mission. Let's skip the mission. All right, here's the team. I like this guy, Peter Boards. It wasn't his fault that Aubrey Advisors got involved. Global Partnerships Finance, our board of directors. The advisory committee. This is a very strong committee here. But let's watch this guy. You can't click on it. All right, so let's look at, can you remember some of those names? Sebastian Roberts, Romain Kuchis, Gerard Garcia, Dennis Duncan, Christopher Hart. All right, there you go. Christopher Hart. Aubrey Advisors. All right, so now let's go to Aubrey Advisors. Look at the team. There he is, Christopher Hart. More than 30 years of Big Four audit, compliance reporting, retired from PwC, London, Lausanne, and Tokyo. Let's see this guy, Miles Turman. No, sorry, Jeffrey Turman. I think he's on the board of he's the one that sponsored the Spac for Logic and Collective Audience. Now let's just go with Chadron. Let's see who Chadron Advisors. I might be misspelling it. Might be Chardon. Okay, so let's go Chardon Advisory Group. All right, let's go Chardon. Oh, it's chartered. I want Chardon Financial. Here, Chardon. Let's see who's on this team. Now, first, come down here. We invest in the future, and it shows SPAC leadership. 20-year history, 120 SPACs underwritten. You don't think they did this on purpose? About. Need our leadership. Erbach, Grossman, Blakeman, Kaufman, Levine, Glickman, Letterman, Wheel. Oh, Doyle, but she's in human resources. Chadron cares. Like hell they care. Anyway, let's not ruin Frankie. I'll do a different video on it. Oh, it wasn't showing up here, I guess. Sorry. I thought I was showing it to you. Oh well. Anyway, they did it on purpose, and they're on the board to protect it. Logic 1,000 share trade. Wonderful. Yeah, that's my largest position, Andrew. So I wouldn't say it's my largest position in by value anymore. But let's talk about logic. This will be the call where we just talk about our losers and the things we're not going to make money on. There's no bid and there's no ask on logic. There's no bid and no ask. I think Brent signed a deal to buy this company MedImmune or whatever the hell it is, and I think it's all in conjunction. The shorts are bailed out, and now they took collective down too. But good job. I mean, I don't see a bid on logic, so I'll try to find out more. Yeah, I had shitty surgery. Shitty surgery. I probably can't. Somebody's coming over in an hour, so I probably can't go on too long. I came back here. My dog had diarrhea all over the floor, even though I had made sure he pooped before I left. So I probably can't keep him very much longer. Yeah, finger earnings. Let's see how finger is trading. I don't think the finger earnings are. It's just a big ho hum finger earnings, but let's get fascinated by finger. Finger is up 3 cents, and let's see how the company reported their results. I went over it with you. What was recorded at the SEC. They recorded quarterly revenue of $8.5 million, an increase of $2.39 million, or 39% quarter to quarter. But they have a 3 cent loss versus 4 cent loss. So it's a big, it's a big nothing. And then they have some cash, working capital surplus of $9 million. We're proud to report a 39% increase in our revenue performance compared to last year, which is good. We believe we now have the resources needed to roll out key initiatives and drive sustained value creation for shareholders. That's a very positive announcement. There is no Mr. Chen. There's a Mr. Shen, but there is no Mr. Chen. There's a Mr. Shen. And so I don't think Mr. Chen can give you an answer. No. The fine is just for show. No one will follow up on the covering. That you notice they didn't tell you which stocks they shorted. It's all for show. And it's all for someone at the SEC to stamp their ticket so they can roll over and get a job at Gibson Dunn or with Stevie Cohen. It's all for show. All right, Sean, let's look at the well, he had a bounty on a different stock, David. That was GoLogic. That wasn't Logic. So he didn't lie. I just think Brent works very hard. He puts things together. I think he's honest. But he, like a lot of people, he needs to feel good and positive feedback from Wall Street. And when these guys come in, they're liars and they make you feel good. They send a Rolls Royce, they send their best team, you sign on the dotted line, and the shareholders are fucked. And it happens all over and over again. All right, Sean. So let's go. Let's look at what you're talking about that was reported. There's no upside for me to talk about this because I get totally misunderstood particularly when I'm upset that I just see it as people making money and you not making money. Let's see. All right, January 14th. All right, we already talked about this. So I guess I go GTII receiver report. I don't know. I guess what I'll have to tell you is just get your update from Richard. I don't see the receiver report. I don't see it, so I don't know where to find it. I've pointed out to you, and it's filed. It's not something I made up. The receiver gets almost 5% of all cash raised and almost 5% all assets raised and almost 5% of the shares raised. So I think the receiver will be taken care of. The lawyer out of Arizona, I don't know if he's being paid cash or he gets a piece of the deal. I don't know how the other lawyers and the judge gets paid. In some jurisdictions, they get a piece. So just be aware of that. That's okay, though. I mean, that's okay. It's just, yeah, just go listen to Richard. I mean, Richard, I'm sure, has a good strategy for how to get money back from GTII and probably has a really good strategy for how you can make money. I'm not going to listen to the call. So you guys can tell me what he says. What I try to get across to you is GTII is a shell, and it's in this litigation, if I can call it that. So what's the value of that shell? It's de minimis. Now, to the extent that Richard, the other attorney, and the receiver get rid of all that clutter and it comes out of the receivership as a clean shell, well, then what's the shell worth? It's the filings and that it's trades on the over-the-counter. Well, who gets a piece of all that? It'll be there. It won't be disclosed. It'll be under the 5%, but it'll be allocated around. And then the whales want to make money. They're putting up the money. And fair enough. Fair enough. And the company that comes in wants to control it and own the majority of it. Fair enough. But you just got to ask, what's left for me? And I'm telling you, it's called cram down. Cram down. And then they'll do a reverse split and the Kramers will win. No, it wasn't always a shell. The definition of a shell is having no operations. GTII actually did have some essentially worthless operation. So I wouldn't call it a show. But yeah, I guess if you're saying for all practical purposes it was a show, I think you could say that. I want to see all parties that screwed us go to jail. It won't happen. They'll settle to get out of receivership. To get out of receivership, to get out of receivership, they'll just settle. Nobody's going to jail in GTII. Where is the receiver report? I'd love to read it. I'd love to read it, but nobody's going to jail. Yeah, go listen to Richard. He's great. He's got your interests in mind. And, just let me know what he says. The receiver isn't the one getting all the facts. I mean, he has the data maybe, but it's the lawyer out of Arizona. So I would give credit where credit is due. I mean, the receiver's part of it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know how you're going to make money. No, the judge doesn't have to put a criminal referral. The judge is a receiver. It's the court. It's a receiver. No. Go listen to him. He's got your interests at heart, and you'll be able to. No, my surgery was the one in 5,000. That's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. There's no miracle in my eyesight. So what? They're not allowed by law. Guys, here's what happened with GTII. Reichman, who might be, look, I'm going to be blunt. And you guys can get pissed off at me. I'm not anti-Semitic. But Reichman's Jewish. The Kramers are Jewish. The Kramers' clients are all Jewish. Do they all know each other? I have no idea. But I would argue that if they do, they're loyal to each other because they go to the same temple. And the SEC's not there. So here's what happened. Reichman took out a note from the Kramers. Now, Reichman might be a good guy. I have no idea. I don't think so. It was a toxic convertible note. The Kramers and their clients, as is their wont, just started selling the stock in the market, gave that money to Reichman, and it's all a daisy chain. Everybody gets cash. Do they meet at Temple or do they meet at their country club and divvy up their winnings? I have no idea. The stock went from 9 cents to $9. Somebody hired Lou Bravo. Somebody hired Frank Benedetto. Somebody hired the Greek at COSM to come in and busticate the squeeze that may or may not have been going on. You can never prove. It crashed. Alpine, hurry, he's Jewish, as far as I know. They moved the entire short position over to Alpine. Alpine filed all these crappy filings. Then they brought in a derivative guy, Reichman did, and I don't know, you've seen what's happened. Not allowed by law. So what? They all break the law. They all break the law. Every single one of those Burroughs Park boys break the law. And then Kramer signs something, signs it, and then he goes back to breaking the law. I don't know, Sean, and I'm not mad at you, Sean. I'm mad at my fucking surgeon. They line him up. He must do 40 or 50 operations in a day. He could care less. Well, you signed the release. I said that, look, I understand there's risks in surgery, but you didn't tell me this. Anyway. Sean, where is the receiver report? I'll read it to you. I don't know where it is. I can't find the receiver report. Yeah, I figured the finger report would be a big ho-hum, and it was a big ho-hum. They basically broke even. Bill, I mean, I hate to say this, but when I look at that earnings report and I look at the body of the company, there's a real argument there that this company has revenue, low margin, and, should it be trading at 2 times revenue? I mean, you can make that argument. So what you need is Roth Capital, who I think was a pass-through for the shorts. They've had 3 weeks to rally the stock, and they haven't. But if Roth Capital comes out with a research report and institutional buying comes in, well, then we'll be all right. Having said all that, I think Finger is going to use that money quite effectively to grow their business. That's not good English, but yeah. Look, Finger isn't going to squeeze for 5 months or 6 months if it ever does. It's totally under control, in my opinion. Just like GTII is under control. And just like every one of these Adina Friedman, Charlie Chuck E. Cheese, Cromwell's over-the-counter markets, they all are in on it. They're all in on it. Every single one of them. And guys, when you, I'm telling you, I've done it myself. I raised money for an oil and gas company. The guy that ran it was a preacher. And I knew him for a while. I thought, oh, okay, I trust him. I did it with my associate. And I looked up to I was much younger. I looked up to my associate because I thought he's been doing this a long time. He knows what we're doing. And I raised the money. I mean, he raised, I think, 25 grand or something. But I raised the rest. And whatever. He had 2 clients, each put in 10 grand or 15 grand. They got their money back. But I did all the flying around and visiting and due diligence. But I said, look, I want to get this recorded in the courthouse because my best client is backing it. Well, my associate we flew down to Houston, met this group. I won't say their name. Paid them a lot of money, and my associate said, "There, we got it done." I said, "Great, that's what I wanted." Well, it turns out it wasn't. He just filled out paperwork. He didn't file anything anywhere. And we drilled. All the wells were named after wildflowers. I forget. We drilled the Pumper Mill, the Daffodil, I forget all the names, but we must have drilled 5 or 6 wells, and 2 or 3 of them had reasonable, but not barn burner, but had reasonable returns. And then I got a phone call, and the request was that my investor and us lift our first position on the assets because another guy was willing to put up money to rescue the company from bankruptcy. I said, what do you mean bankruptcy? You never told me this company was in bankruptcy. Well, so-and-so's on the courthouse right now trying to keep it from losing all the assets. And I fought for, I don't know, we had screaming arguments, which I'm embarrassed with now. And finally my associate said, look, the guy that wants the first position is putting up $500,000. Our collateral is $8 million. What difference does it make? And I'm telling you, it was so painful, and anger and things said, and I finally said, all right, I give in. So we gave in. And sure enough, there was an organized prepackaged bankruptcy led by somebody from Roth Capital, by the way. I'm not sure he was at Roth Capital at that time. And I fought it. I got the notice on a Friday. The hearing was on a Monday. I got the lawyers together. We flew down on Sunday, and we filed our objection. And it cost me probably somewhere between $80,000 and $150,000 to fight that out of my own pocket for 2 or 3 years. The lawyers and the judges were all in on it. Everybody gets to know each other. And the final courtroom scene, the board member, the guy that took over for the company, because the preacher resigned, one of the board members wouldn't show up in court, apparently because he had committed perjury. So he wouldn't show up in court. But from his distance, a long way away, he happened to be Jewish. He called in. There was a settlement, and he called in that the company would go along with the settlement as long as I didn't get any payout at all. Man, my clients wouldn't get anything paid out. So there was a courtroom, Judge Brown, and then one of the lawyers used to be a judge, and the lawyers all met in a adjunct to the courtroom, and the conference table went from the conference room. They slid doors open all the way down, and there were something like 30 lawyers sitting at this conference table, every single one of them wanting to get paid. And I found out that I won't say the guy's name, but this board of directors guy said that the company would agree to the settlement And that's why all the lawyers were here, because they wanted to get their payday in the settlement. I heard it. I stood up and I said, I object to the settlement, and my client objects, and my company objects, and we're not in on the settlement. And I walked out of the room, and I called my associate. He was up in outside of New York, and oh my gosh, the fireworks. I waited in the courtroom for the judge to come. The one lawyer, big tall guy that used to be a judge, he started bitching and moaning, talking to everyone. That effing Farron, So I went up to him. He big tall guy. I went up to him. Do you have something to say to me? And he turned around and he looked down at me, and I said, I'm right here. I hear everything you're saying, but I'm not agreeing to that deal. And so the acquirer of the company, a good guy, a lot of money, nice suits, baseball player, honest, I think. He was late, and he came in probably around, I don't know if it was before lunch or after lunch, but oh my God, the tension was building. I was all alone. Everyone was mad at me. Everyone's burning, mumbling. But hey, I'm not going to sell out my investors. And it was my own money. Frankly, I never got any money back. All of my money I spent was forfeit, all of it. But I wanted to make sure that my investors got their money back. And he came up to me. I felt this tap on my shoulder. He had a deep voice, and he said, Bill, I understand that you're objecting to the settlement. And I think you should know that I've had a look at all those agreements. And this goes back to the beginning of my story. When I went down to get these things recorded in the courthouse, and I trusted my associate, and we hired this company to do it, that company didn't do it. So our assets were not at the end, in the final instance, they were not in first position. They were in an unsecured class. That's how the judge ruled. The judges in bankruptcy can rule anything. So he said, I can't do his voice. He said, Bill, you're not going to get anything out of that. If you stand here, you're not going to get anything out of this. And I said, well, I said to the guy, I'm not going to use any names, but I said, I'm not backing down on my word and the agreement I made with you. I will honor that agreement. But I am telling you that the company, which is now run by this board member who's outside of New York, won't come down here. I said, I'm not willing. He's basically saying that he wants to stick it to me, and I'm the one that came in and objected. And this guy was the other side of that objection. But we became friends. And I said, so I'll keep my word. And I will do what I agreed to with you. But that guy, I'm not going to agree to his last minute demand, which just screws my investors. And the guy said, I remember looking down because I was so worked up. I remember looking down at his shiny shoes and I looked back up at him, and he said, there was a long silence. Oh my God. I'm like, and I knew in my heart that if he told me that he couldn't help me, we were going to lose everything. But I wanted to do what was right. So he looked at me. He said, "Well, Bill, Fuck," he pronounced it, that guy. "You wait here. I'll be right back." I waited, and they're all milling around mad at me. About 45 minutes later, I feel a tug on my back of my suit, and this guy comes up. He says, "Bill, you have your deal." And so my investors got their money back minus legal fees. That's the best I could do. And she's still annoyed by this. She still remembers that she had to pay legal fees. But they got their money back. And the other two investors, the small ones, got 100% of their money back for some reason. And it all settled. But you know what I learned? When it goes into when it goes into court, you're no longer in a financial investment. You're no longer in a situation where you're going to get a return on the capital you put up. You're lucky to get your money back. Which is what I managed for my clients. But I tell you that story, and I think I've told it once before. I'm not making it up. GTII is now in a legal path. And the acquirer of GTII isn't going to be looking out for you. It's just a fact. Yeah, it was pretty intense. It was down in New Orleans. And what I learned also is in life, if you stick to the truth and you maintain your integrity, you'll be surprised how people that even are your putative foe will support you, because we all respect it when someone is honorable. Hey, Quintainment. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I had really bad news on my eye, and I'm not, it's just not going to be a miracle. It's not the receiver. The receiver came in to do paperwork. It was the lawyer, but whatever. It's the two of them working together. And I think Richard Hoffman's done a lot of work that's been very important. But it's not a game changer, Big Orange. It's not a game changer. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, Big Orange, I was just about to explain my thinking, but I'm not going to. Just go with Richard Hoffman, go with the receiver, go with the lawyer, go with the whale that's trying to make it work. And just, you guys spend a lot of time analyzing. we'll analyze it. If, Sean's saying that she's posting it again. I don't see it. Where is Sean, where can I Google it? I'll read it. I posted it again for a third time here. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know, Sean. See, this is my weakness because I don't know how to. I don't know how to locate whatever you posted. I'm more than glad to read it and see what it says. I mean, maybe look. The key is if you've got a whale who's willing to put up all the money and only take 30% of the upside, we're in like Flynn. No, I don't know. The guy had barely any time for me. And I guess the anesthesiologist knocked me out. And I opened my eyes. I said, I can't see. I said, what? I can't see anything. He said, well, I had to put this in instead of that. So how'd you decide to do that? You didn't. Anyway, I was really upset. I have to see him tomorrow. And I guess it's best to go in without being upset. But he couldn't have cared less. That's the problem with this world. Everything is bloody money. They don't care. I don't know what the answer is, Candy. There's a group out of Arizona that's on YouTube. Maybe I can call them and see if they can do something. Maybe there's something wrong with my eye. Maybe it's just not, but he didn't tell me that. They did all these measurements. Maybe the mass, as they call it, just got too big and damaged my eye. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm still absorbing it. I don't know. I walked out. I just walked out. He didn't want to talk. He had another 20 people to destroy. Anyway, I'm just the 1 in 1,000 it didn't work. That's all. Well, what do you do once it's done? What do you do? What do you do? I mean, it's in. He put something in, it's in. I mean, I will say I can see a blurry me there, which I couldn't do yesterday. So anyway, look, I'll be dead in 25 years or less. It won't matter what my eyesight is. They're full of themselves. He said, well, you signed the disclosure. I said, look, I'm not debating that surgery involves risks, but what you never told me about this. I mean, come on. You either know what you're doing or not. Yeah, maybe. All right, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to get into, yeah, but maybe that's what I have to do. It's just, it doesn't bring my eyesight back. I'm afraid he made a mistake when he went in my eye and he's not admitting it. That's what I'm afraid of. I have a slight astigmatism. I guess it's gone now. And the admitting nurse said, well, we're going to do it. And I asked him, are you doing that? You didn't tell me about that. So, yeah, it's easy. So maybe he screwed it up somehow. Maybe it was the mass that I had was, too late. Maybe I was too late. I don't know. But he didn't give me much time. And I was angry. He knew it. And he had to get back to dissecting somebody else. And I said, you made all these measurements. Why didn't you know? Anyway. Hoping the AI company is for real, has actual sales. Far from over. Read the receiver report. He's clawing back millions of shares and hundreds of thousands in cash. And Reichman has to turn over the Land Rover. Well, where's that cash going to go? I think it's going to go to the lawyers, the judge. We already know the receiver's getting 5% of the cash. And I guess that's a standard deal. But my point is, there's not going to be much left of the cash for shareholders. It'll feel good, though. I agree with you. And then the millions of shares, we know the receiver gets 5% of those shares as well. Which that's the deal that everyone agreed to. So, that's fine. I don't like it, but I guess it's fine with everybody. But who else gets shares? Who else? Do those shares go back into the treasury, which is where they should go? And then I guess they can be issued to acquire companies. That would be great. And maybe there's hope. I just think it's going to take time. Sean, I don't see it posted here, so I guess I will try to find out. I'll try to find out somewhere else. Well, they'll unwind all that. Look, I think David Reichman's life will be made difficult. Don't get me wrong. But let's just say there'll be 250 million shares of GTII. I don't know. Let's say all of you paid 10 cents a share. Well, that means you've got to have 25 million in value to distribute. Well, the AI company has the right, if they distribute 25 million, they have a right to 50 million first. I just don't see it. Now, maybe, as someone pointed out, the money could stay in the company, and with 25 million, they can go buy a project that somehow is worth 250 million. But those are hard to find. Those are really hard to find. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. No, I never knew about .8 LLC. So, Sean, what you're bringing up is if there's fraud, that might go after the insurance companies. There might be double or treble damages. I mean, that starts adding up. Does Willie not want anyone to make money off of GTI and or Finger? No, you're right. I'm just gonna join in. Hey, it's great. GTII. Wow. They're getting money back from uh, they're clawing money back. That's great. That we're going to make money in GTII. Awesome. Finger. Oh my gosh. Things are going great. We're going to make money in Finger soon. There's 200 million shares and it's going to squeeze. How about that, Korea Yun? Yeah, there's millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. So that's pretty amazing. The report identified 182 going to be clawed back. So let's use that. 4.99% of those shares go to the receiver. And if you think that's a good deal, it's great. I don't think the receiver found those shares. Those shares had already been identified by the attorney. But hey, that's life. So the receiver is going to have, let's say, 9 million shares. Well, how many shares do you have? And 9 million shares of I don't know, 300 million. That's a significant piece. It's a significant piece. And then when they do all that stuff, anyway, guys, I'm not trying to pick on the receiver. The receiver's going to get rich off of this if it works. The lawyers are going to make money. The whales are going to make money. And unless somebody is into charity, you and I aren't going to make money unless we're offered a chance to take a new risk. But I'll go with Korean Yun. I'm wrong. It all sounds great. All that shares, all that money's going to come back to us, and we're going to be rich. We're going to make all that money back. It's great. I'm not going to be negative anymore. Well, that was actually my point, Robert. Uh, uh, People aren't going to, whatever. You know what? There's no upside for me here. I'm fighting against people that don't want to realize that GTII is totally bust. We want to believe that this legal process is going to somehow rescue us. Maybe it will somewhat. It could. I mean, it's possible. So I'll go with that. I'll go with that. The receiver is doing a great job and deserves millions of shares for his work. The lawyers are doing fantastic jobs. They deserve their payday. The AI company is incredible. The AI company is going to change the financial advisory and the financial market landscape. It's amazing. And then the whales are going to bring money in, and they're not going to cram us down, luckily. And any new company that comes in, they don't have other shells they can go to and get 95% of that shell or 85% of that shell. They only have this one. They don't have any others to go to. So I bet we can strike a deal where a company coming in, adding real value, maybe only takes 40% of GTII, leaving us 60%. Maybe 5% goes to the professionals that rescued us. Maybe 10% goes to them. So maybe we have 50% and we make all our money back. And Korean Yun is right. I'll be so happy everybody makes money. That's I I used to have a lot more shares than you did, Sean. Um, I didn't sell up in there. I wish in retrospect I had sold it 4 or 5. I didn't. You know what? From now on, I'm going to be a cheerleader for GTII. I'm going to be a cheerleader for the receiver, cheerleader for the Arizona attorney. I'm going to be a cheerleader for the other attorneys. I'm going to be a cheerleader for this AI company. It's amazing. I'm going to be a cheerleader for this court process, and I'm going to be a cheerleader for the big short position, lifting us back up so everybody can make money. Well, that's true. We could go after that's if the fraud's there and there's assets. You're right about that. You're right about that. And then there's double and treble damages, and they probably have director's insurance. I mean, that could be a valid, but that doesn't change my point that going the legal route is a different definition. There may be recovery in the legal process, absolutely, but it's different than making a financial investment and trading a stock. That's all my point is. And whenever I point it out, somehow I'm a bad guy, but that's just a fact. Yeah, the discovery is important. I'm in GTII. I lost a shitload of money in it. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what. Yeah. I had a chance to get a shell for free as long as I made it work. But it didn't happen. So maybe it wasn't going to happen. All right, it's 4:30. Yeah, why don't you guys go listen to him? Why don't you guys listen to him? And let's just look at some of the stock prices, how they closed, and then I'll sign off. Go listen to Richard. I think, and the receiver, they're doing great work for you. And it's just a different game. It's not an investment anymore. It's a recovery situation. So Finger closed at 117, up 4 cents. That's a good sign on Finger. Maybe Roth will come in. I think the fact that the third quarter earnings came in flat is good. The fourth quarter earnings is where I think Finger is going to change the whole story. So I think that's all positive. Rail closed at 35 cents. Interesting. Collective audience, you can't even sell. Wow, Logic closed at 2 cents. No, 1.5 cents, but I guess you round that up to 2 cents. DJT on the move, up 148, 40.83. Yeah, I'm not in the mood to stay on, Robert. I'll stay on a little longer if you have questions or an idea of what to talk about. But I wish I could find Sean's receiver report. Yeah, I agree. Let's see if the receiver is in Nevada. Let's see. Oh. "22 minutes ago." Let me see. All right, let me see if I can read this to you, Sean.